What if the breakfast you've been eating for years, thinking it's healthy, was quietly harming your body every single morning? For adults over 60, the wrong choices at the breakfast table can drain your energy, stress your organs, and even raise your risk of chronic disease. The surprising part? These dangerous foods aren't exotic or unusual. They're sitting right in your kitchen, often labeled as healthy, light, or even heart-friendly. Breakfast is often called the most important meal of the day. But for many seniors, it can also be the most dangerous if you're eating the wrong foods. In this video, we're going to reveal 6 popular breakfast items that older adults still eat almost every day, without realizing the toll they take on your body. Some of them slowly sap your energy, others put extra strain on your heart and brain, and some quietly set the stage for serious health problems down the road. These aren't rare or hard-to-find foods. In fact, brands market them as wholesome staples, making them seem like the smart choice. But what they actually do inside an aging body is far from harmless. By the end of this video, you won't just know which foods to avoid. You'll understand exactly why they're risky after 60, how they impact your heart, brain, and digestion, and what better, tastier swaps you can make to keep your mornings healthy and satisfying. Because whether you're 60, 70, or approaching 80, your first meal of the day sets the tone for everything that follows. It can fuel your energy or drain it, sharpen your memory or cloud your thinking, and help stabilize your blood pressure, or send it soaring before you've even left the kitchen table. Let's begin with the first common breakfast habit older adults should rethink starting today: sugary cereals and breakfast granolas. For many seniors, it's quick and familiar. Just pour a bowl, add milk, and you're done. Often labeled whole grain, lightly sweetened, or heart healthy, these cereals might look innocent. But here's what most people don't realize. Many of these cereals are loaded with added sugars and refined carbohydrates that can quietly wreak havoc on an aging body. The problem isn't only the sugar you see printed on the nutrition label, it's also the type of carbohydrates inside. These highly processed carbs break down into sugar within minutes of eating, flooding your bloodstream almost instantly. When you start your morning with a high glycemic cereal, your blood sugar spikes fast. It might give you a short burst of energy, but it's almost always followed by a sharp crash, leaving you tired, shaky, irritable, and craving even more carbs by mid-morning. Take Harold, for example, a 71-year-old who used to eat a big bowl of Raisin Bran every single morning. He picked it because it sounded wholesome and good for his heart. But despite taking his prescribed medications and walking every day, his A1C levels kept creeping higher. His doctor finally suggested removing processed cereals from his diet for just 1 month as an experiment. Harold made the switch to steel-cut oats topped with cinnamon and a small handful of walnuts. The change was remarkable. Not only did his blood sugar stabilize, but he also said he felt more alert, steady, and energized throughout the day. It wasn't about eating less, it was about eating smarter. Another hidden danger in many cereals and granolas lies in their additives, preservatives, artificial flavors, and sometimes even hydrogenated oils added to improve crunch or extend shelf life. These ingredients can drive inflammation, something most older adults are already battling quietly through arthritis, high blood pressure, or memory problems. Even granolas that appear natural can be deceiving. Many are baked with syrups or honey blends to form crunchy clusters, but those clusters often carry more sugar than a glazed donut. A small handful might be harmless, but most people pour a full bowl, top it with fruit or sweetened yogurt, and unknowingly start their day with 40 grams of sugar before they've even gotten dressed. What makes this even more concerning for older adults is how the body changes after 60. Insulin resistance tends to rise, digestion slows, and the body becomes far less efficient at processing sugar. The pancreas has to work harder just to keep blood glucose under control. This is why something that felt fine in your 40s can suddenly weigh you down in your 70s, leaving you sluggish and drained. The solution isn't skipping breakfast, it's simply changing what's in your bowl. Unsweetened oats, plain yogurt with fresh berries, boiled eggs with whole grain toast, or even savory options like avocado can keep you feeling full and energized without sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster. The way you begin your morning doesn't just affect the next few hours. It sets the tone for your long-term health, daily energy, and even your independence. If you've been feeling unusually tired lately, despite getting a good night's sleep, or if you tend to crash just a couple of hours after breakfast without knowing why, it might be time to take a closer look at your cereal box. Number 2. Processed breakfast meats like bacon and sausage. Bacon, sausage, and ham are staples on countless breakfast tables across America. It's easy to see why. They smell irresistible, taste delicious, and have been part of traditional breakfasts for generations. But for adults between 60 and 80, starting the day with these processed meats can quietly place a heavy burden on the heart, blood vessels, and overall longevity. The damage often builds slowly, going unnoticed until the warning signs become impossible to ignore. These meats are loaded with saturated fat and sodium, two things that put extra strain on the cardiovascular system, especially as we age. Saturated fats can raise LDL cholesterol, the type that clogs arteries and increases the risk of heart attacks or strokes. At the same time, the sodium in just 2 strips of bacon or a single sausage patty can be enough to spike blood pressure for the rest of the morning. And that's without even considering the preservatives. Most processed breakfast meats are cured with nitrates or nitrites, compounds added to preserve color and shelf life. Once digested, these compounds can form nitrosamines, substances linked to inflammation, insulin resistance, and a higher risk of certain cancers. For older adults who may already have sensitive digestion, weaker kidney function, or a family history of heart disease, this kind of chemical exposure becomes even more concerning. Take Eileen, for example, a 74-year-old who enjoyed a sausage and egg sandwich every morning. She believed it was giving her the protein she needed to start the day. But over time, she began noticing swelling in her ankles, and during a routine checkup, her doctor warned that her blood pressure had crept into the danger zone. Once Eileen reduced her sodium intake and replaced her morning sausage with avocado and hard-boiled eggs, the swelling began to ease, and so did her blood pressure numbers. The issue isn't only about fat. It's about how the body processes food differently after the age of 60. Kidneys become less efficient at filtering out excess salt. Blood vessels grow more sensitive to cholesterol buildup, and metabolism slows down. This means dense, greasy foods linger longer in the digestive system, leaving you feeling heavier, more fatigued, and sometimes even mentally foggy by midday. For many people, these foods aren't an occasional indulgence. They're a daily habit. A few strips of bacon at home, a breakfast sandwich on the go, sausage alongside pancakes at the diner, it all adds up. The real problem isn't having them once in a while. It's when the routine feels normal, even though the body is silently struggling to recover from the constant load. A smarter approach is to swap in leaner protein options. Try grilled turkey slices, plant-based breakfast patties, or eggs paired with fiber-rich vegetables. Even something as simple as a slice of whole-grain toast with almond butter can provide more lasting, steady fuel than processed meats ever could. Because when you're older, breakfast isn't just a meal, it's a form of daily medicine. It either supports your body's recovery and strength, or it forces your system to work harder than it should. And the encouraging part? Small, consistent changes can make a big difference. Even replacing just one food at a time begins to give your body the support it has been quietly asking for all along. If you're still here watching and finding these insights useful, comment number 2 below so I know you're with me. And if you haven't yet subscribed, now is the perfect moment. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs, empowers, and inspires. Now let's move on. Number 3. White bread and refined pastries. White toast, pancakes, bagels, and those tempting muffins from the coffee shop might look like harmless breakfast choices, especially when paired with a hot cup of coffee and a little jam. But if you're between 60 and 80, these refined carbs are quietly undermining your energy, your digestion, and your long-term blood sugar stability. What makes white bread and pastries so risky isn't just the type of flour, it's how quickly they turn into sugar once you eat them. These foods are made from highly processed white flour that has been stripped of fiber, nutrients, and the natural bran that helps slow digestion. As a result, when you eat them, your blood sugar spikes almost instantly. This rapid rise triggers a surge of insulin, which often overshoots, causing your blood sugar to drop sharply not long after. That drop leaves you feeling tired, irritable, and hungry again far sooner than you should be. This constant roller coaster effect isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. Over time, repeated spikes and crashes can wear down the body's ability to regulate insulin effectively. For older adults, that can mean a higher risk of prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or worsening blood sugar control for those who already have the condition. And all of this can start from what seems like a harmless, light breakfast. I knew a man named Carl, 68, who loved starting his mornings with a toasted English muffin and a smear of jelly. It was his routine for years. But despite watching his calorie intake and walking every day, his weight stayed the same, and his afternoon energy crashes became more severe. When he finally swapped his morning muffin for a slice of sprouted grain toast topped with a little almond butter and half a banana, everything changed. For the first time in years, he said he felt steady and energized from breakfast until lunch. No more mid-morning slumps. Another hidden problem with pastries is that they're often baked with trans fats, even if the label says 0G. That's because regulations allow small amounts to be rounded down to zero. These fats linger in the bloodstream, raise LDL, bad cholesterol, and increase inflammation, especially in older arteries and joints that are already more sensitive with age. And for those who think, I just have a little, the truth is that the impact can quietly add up. A biscuit at breakfast, a Danish at the senior center, a few bites of leftover toast. It may not seem like much, but over time, these small daily choices can affect your energy, your focus, and how well your heart and brain function each day. Better swaps aren't about depriving yourself, they're about fueling your body more wisely. Choose whole grain or sprouted bread that contains real fiber. Top it with something that offers healthy fats and protein, like natural peanut butter, cottage cheese, or a poached egg. Or go savory with tomato slices, avocado, or a spread of hummus. These kinds of choices digest more slowly, help keep your blood sugar steady, and leave you feeling clear-headed instead of sluggish. Because breakfast isn't just about filling your stomach, it's about setting the tone for the entire day. When you give your body what it truly needs, it rewards you with steady energy, sharper focus, and resilience that lasts from morning to night. Number 4. Flavored yogurts with hidden sugars. Yogurt often enjoys a health halo, especially the flavored varieties that promise to support digestion, boost protein, or give you a light, refreshing start to your day. But for seniors aiming to eat smarter, many of these products are far less harmless than they appear. In fact, starting your morning with sweetened yogurt can quietly sabotage your energy, disrupt gut health, and make it harder to manage your weight or control blood sugar. What many people don't realize is that even a small container of flavored yogurt can pack in more sugar than a slice of cake. Some have over 20 grams in a single serving, and that's before you add fruit or granola. That initial sugar spike doesn't just flood your bloodstream. It forces your body to work overtime to bring levels back down. The result? You're left tired, hungry, and searching for another snack just an hour or two later. And it's not only the white table sugar you have to watch for. Many of these yogurts are sweetened with fruit syrups, concentrated juices, or artificial sweeteners that can confuse your digestive system. For older adults, the gut is often more sensitive than it once was, and the balance of bacteria, what we now call the microbiome, plays a huge role in everything from mood to immunity. When too much sugar disrupts that balance, the effects can ripple out far beyond digestion. Take Joyce for example, a 72-year-old who had been eating strawberry yogurt with granola every morning for 5 years. She thought it was a healthy habit, but she was constantly bloated and her knees ached with inflammation. Her doctor suggested a simple change. Switch to plain Greek yogurt, sprinkle it with cinnamon, and top it with fresh blueberries. Within weeks, the bloating eased, and she said her mornings felt lighter, calmer, and far more stable. Another hidden problem with many store-bought yogurts is the inclusion of thickeners and stabilizers like carrageenan or modified cornstarch. These additives are used to create that thick, creamy texture, but they don't do anything to support your health. In fact, for some people, they can irritate the gut lining and interfere with nutrient absorption, something seniors simply can't afford to lose. And when yogurt is labeled low-fat or light, it often comes with a hidden trade-off. More sugar is added to make up for the flavor that fat once provided. On the outside, it might look better on the calorie count, but inside your body, it creates a stress response that can linger far beyond breakfast. If you enjoy yogurt, you don't need to give it up. The key is to take control of what's in it. Choose plain Greek yogurt or unsweetened varieties, then add your own toppings. Fresh fruit, a sprinkle of nuts, or even a light drizzle of honey if you like. This way, you're feeding your body probiotics, protein, and essential nutrients without triggering a sugar spike or loading up on unnecessary chemicals. Because the right kind of breakfast doesn't just fill your stomach, it builds your foundation for the day. When you start your morning nourishing your gut and brain instead of stressing them, you feel the difference. Your energy stays steady, your focus stays sharp, and your mood feels lighter. That's the kind of payoff you can notice, not just today, but over time. If you're still here watching and finding these insights valuable, comment number 4 below so I know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs, inspires, and empowers. Now, let's move to number 5. Fruit juices that seem healthy but spike blood sugar. For decades, fruit juice has been treated like a breakfast staple, especially orange juice. It's bright, refreshing, and packed with vitamin C. But for older adults, that seemingly innocent glass of juice can behave more like soda than fruit, setting off a chain of effects that strain the body instead of helping it. The biggest issue is fiber, or rather, the lack of it. When you eat a whole orange, the natural fiber in the pulp slows down how quickly sugar enters your bloodstream. But when you drink orange juice, even the 100% pure kind, you're getting all the sugar without the fiber. That means a sharp spike in blood glucose, something that becomes especially risky after the age of 60, when insulin sensitivity naturally begins to decline. There's also the problem of volume. You'd probably never sit down and eat 4 whole oranges at once, yet that's roughly how many it takes to make a single cup of juice. That means far more sugar, more calories, and a bigger workload for your pancreas to keep your blood sugar stable. For someone already dealing with borderline glucose levels or managing diabetes, this well-intentioned daily habit can quietly push numbers in the wrong direction without you realizing it. I once spoke with Walter, a 75-year-old, who began every morning with a large glass of apple juice. He believed it was a healthier choice than coffee. But after experiencing occasional lightheadedness in the mornings and noticing his A1C levels creeping higher, his nutritionist suggested cutting juice for a month. Walter replaced it with whole fruit and a glass of water. Within just 3 weeks, his energy smoothed out, and his doctor reported improved glucose readings. While orange juice often gets the spotlight, other juices like cranberry, apple, and grape are often even worse. They can contain more sugar per serving, and many brands add extra sweeteners on top of the natural sugars already present. Some light or reduced sugar juices may seem like a safer option, but they often sneak in artificial additives that do little for gut health and can actually be harder to digest, especially for those with sensitive stomachs or slower-moving bowels. The important thing to understand is that fruit itself isn't the problem, it's the processing. When you blend, strain, or concentrate fruit into a liquid, you strip away the natural fiber and alter how the body responds. You remove the built-in checks and balances that protect your energy levels, your insulin response, and even your natural hunger signals. For seniors who want to stay sharp, maintain steady energy, and keep hydration healthy, that's a big deal. A better choice? Stick to water, herbal teas, or infused water with slices of lemon, cucumber, or fresh berries for flavor. If you enjoy fruit, eat it whole. A small apple or a few orange segments can satisfy your craving for sweetness while delivering the fiber your body needs to stay full longer and keep your blood sugar from spiking. The goal isn't to eliminate sweetness from your life. It's to enjoy it in a way that supports your body, not surprises it. Starting your day with steady, stable energy is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, especially if you want to age with strength, not struggle. Number 6. Butter-heavy or fried breakfast items. For many in their 60s, 70s, or beyond, breakfast doesn't quite feel complete without something warm, crispy, and comforting, like buttered toast, fried eggs, or a golden side of hash browns straight from the skillet. These meals can be deeply satisfying in the moment, but the way they're often prepared, loaded with butter, oil, or heavy frying fats, can quietly burden your body in ways that last well beyond breakfast. As we age, the digestive process naturally slows. The stomach produces less acid, the gallbladder becomes less efficient, and the metabolism doesn't process fats the way it once did. That means a meal heavy in saturated fats, like buttery biscuits, fried potatoes, or eggs swimming in oil, takes much longer to digest. This not only puts added strain on the liver, but it also leaves many people with a sluggish, heavy feeling that can linger for hours. Take Leonard, a 76-year-old who loved his classic Southern breakfast, eggs fried in butter, white toast, and hash browns. It was his tradition for decades, but over time, he began noticing that after breakfast, he felt foggy, drained, and even a little nauseous. His doctor suggested a few small changes. Keep the eggs, but cook them in a non-stick pan without butter. Pair them with leafy greens, and switch to whole grain toast. Within weeks, Leonard said his mornings felt lighter, his energy more stable, and he no longer needed a nap before lunch. The issue with frying isn't just about the fat itself. When oils are heated to very high temperatures, especially if they've been reused or are naturally unstable, they break down into compounds that can increase inflammation in the body. For older adults already dealing with arthritis, joint discomfort, or heart-related issues, this can quietly add fuel to the fire, quite literally. And while butter on its own isn't inherently harmful, it's often used in far greater amounts than we realize. One pat on toast turns into two. A light spread becomes a pan coating, and when you add other high-fat ingredients like cheese, bacon, or creamy sauces, you create a load that the body was never meant to handle every single morning, especially when it's still waking up and trying to find its balance. The solution isn't to give up warm or savory breakfasts, it's to lighten them. Eggs can be poached or soft-boiled. Toast can be brushed with a little olive oil instead of butter. Potatoes can be roasted with herbs instead of being fried in heavy grease. These small changes can make a big difference in how your body feels, not just in the morning, but throughout the entire day. Instead of fried in heavy grease, these small adjustments keep the flavor you love while dramatically reducing the inflammatory burden on your body. Because the food you eat at sunrise doesn't just set the tone for the hours ahead, it sends a direct message to your heart, your brain, and your gut. That message can either be, "I'm here to take care of you," or "You're on your own." For those of us who want to remain independent, strong, and mentally sharp well into our later years, choosing the lighter path in the morning could be one of the simplest ways to help everything else run a little smoother. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, comment number 6 below so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Your support allows us to keep creating content that informs, inspires, and empowers. Now, let's move forward to some final thoughts. As we wrap up today's video, I want you to pause for a moment and really consider what's happening each morning, not just what's on your plate, but how that plate makes you feel afterward. Do you feel steady, alert, and ready to move into the day with purpose? Or do you feel bloated, sluggish, or tempted to sit back down before the morning has even begun? The truth is, breakfast can be one of two things: a quiet gift to your body or a hidden burden. And after the age of 60, your body isn't simply asking for food, it's asking for support. Support to keep your blood sugar steady, support to reduce inflammation, support to stay energized, focused, and mobile. The foods we've talked about today may be popular, convenient, and even carry a sense of nostalgia, but that doesn't mean they're still the best choice for the body you have now. Whether it's sugary cereals, salty meats, white bread, sweetened yogurt, fruit juices, and heavy butter-fried items, they all share one thing in common: they take more from your body than they give. They cause spikes that quickly turn into crashes, they weigh you down, and they force your system to work harder than it should. And when your body has already carried you through 6, 7, or even 8 decades of life, it truly deserves better. The good news is, change doesn't have to be overwhelming. Start small. Swap that morning glass of juice for water and a piece of whole fruit. Choose eggs with a side of greens instead of sausage. Try whole grains instead of white bread. These may seem like simple adjustments, but their effects build quietly over time, day by day, meal by meal, helping you feel lighter, steadier, and more in control. Remember, the goal isn't to restrict you or take away the joy of eating. It's to give that joy back through greater clarity, more comfort, and the confidence of knowing you're fueling your body in a way that supports it. Because aging well isn't about focusing on what you lose, it's about protecting what you keep. And the right breakfast doesn't just satisfy your hunger, it nourishes your future. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video and how you plan to apply it in your own life. Your thoughts mean a lot to us, and reading your stories gives us motivation and encouragement to keep going. If you enjoyed this video and found it valuable, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating helpful, inspiring content. Wishing you health, happiness, and peace. And remember to subscribe to my channel so we can keep learning and growing together.